Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies, and today I want to talk about the top 9 bows, I don't know why it's not 10, for 2025. Outdoor Life magazine produced a list of the top 9 compound bows. They've rated them by price, speed, score, innovation, features, back wall, draw cycle, grip, post shot and accuracy. All right, they've given them all a score out of 5 and come up with the top 5 bows, top 9 bows. So I want to go through them, give you my view on their scores and how these bows rate and why the bows are in the order they're in and whether the order's fair. So I thought it was just kind of interesting. So we're going to start off with the bow they rated first. This is the PSE Mach 30. This is one of my better selling bows. It's one of the most expensive bows I sell in the shop, but one of my better selling bows. Now the reason this bow is popular is it's lightweight. So a lot of hunters like it because it's lightweight. Now there are other lightweight bows, but what's good about this, full draw length adjustability, so you don't need modules, you don't need to go like buy another module when you buy the bow. You've got a tuning system on here, so you can pull out these little clips. You've got to buy the tuning things, but you've got to pull out the clips and you need a bow press and you can shift this cam left to right. Now it's not as good as Bowtech, it's not as good as Elite in my view, but it's pretty good, okay? This is a, when I say it's not an axle based system, it's a pivot which goes through here, so it's quite strong. This is tunable here. Look, it's pretty good, okay? But it is quite expensive. It does shoot well, accuracy wise, it's pretty good, right? So it feels good in the hand, like it balances nicely. It's nice and light. It's 33 inches long. It's got a big brace height. It's not very fast. It's 335 feet per second because it's got a nice draw cycle. You could argue this has the best draw cycle out of all these bows, and I would argue that point, right? But let's just see what they sort of say about this. So when they rated this number 1, the PSE Mach 30, I get it. I do get it. I don't know if I agree, but let's just go with what they rated this. Innovation, they gave it a 1 out of 5. I think that's a bit unfair. So why do they give it 1 out of 5? There's no limb locking here. This is in my view. There's no limb locking here. But look, you can adjust the let off. Full adjustability and draw length. This is pretty cool. This is good. 1 is not fair. This is one of the better bows. I'm going to say it doesn't have the innovation of Bowtech. It doesn't have the innovation of an Elite. And then you can argue Darton against this, right? Which we will do when we get to the Darton. But you just got your Picatinny mount here. You've got your Picatinny mount here. Multiple sight holes. Look, it's pretty good. I think 1 is very unreasonable, but this rated first. They gave it 3 out of 5 on features. That's reasonable. The back wall, they gave it a 4.3, being the best back wall. That's reasonable. They rated this bow the best in draw cycle. That is reasonable. The grip is a 4. The best in the group. Look, I don't know if it's the best grip in the group, but it's not bad. It's not too thin, not too thick, and it's rounded. It feels comfortable. Post shot, they gave this a 5. They rated that the highest besides the Elite Exalt, which I do know well, and they gave that a 5 also. Accuracy, they gave that a 5. That is not fair. They rated this bow the most accurate out of all the bows. Look, this bow will shoot good because it's got a big brace height, smooth draw, it will shoot good. Is there any PSE Elite shooters, professional shooters shooting this? The answer is no, okay? Because it's not as good as far as accuracy as being forgiving as some of the other bows. So there's some other bows behind me which elite shooters, when I say elite, I'm not talking the brand, but I'm talking professional shooters shooting competitions. This is a professional bow for bow hunters, okay? So if you're saying, do professional bow hunters shoot this? Yes, they do, because it's very lightweight. But as far as accuracy, a 5 is just, anyway, just crazy. Because you didn't shoot the bow enough, you didn't launch enough arrows downstream, down the field, to compare the scores accurately. Now, in scores difference between one bow and the next, it's minor. You're talking 1 or 2 points. I've got a guy in the club who's got one of these, and he's got a PSE target bow, okay? He shoots about the same scores. The reason he's shooting this is because it's lighter and he's injured himself, okay? So he's hurt himself, so he needed a light bow to physically hold up. He can only shoot, he hasn't shot a full round since he's been injured, but he's been shooting this, and his scores are a little bit down on what he shoots with his target bow, but I'm going to say it's comparable, and he would say, no, I shoot better with my target bow, but his strength is down, right? But overall, if you're both strong, like if I'm solid, I'm not injured, and I've got the choice of shooting this and shooting a PSE target bow, the Supra or the Dominator, I am shooting the Supra or the Dominator. No questions asked. There's not even a question in here. Now, when it comes to the other bows on the list, there is questions about whether I shoot better with their bows on this wall than the target bow. So I think a 5 is overrating this, but then I think they probably underrated the innovation on this, because this is the best, well, you could argue the best carbon riser in the industry. The other carbon riser bows are heavy. This is nice and light. It's got foam. It's got these brackets in it, which is quite clever. This is quite clever. The way they do this with a bracket inside is quite clever. This is clever. And when I say this is the bracket, but this is where the quiver mounts onto. And this is clever, right? So sometimes when a reviewer reviews stuff, you don't realize how clever a product is until you understand the whole product and what else is on the market. This is clever. The bow quiver that fits on here is clever. It's a clever bow. It's a good bow. It'll be good forever. I'm going to say this bow, compared to the old PSE carbon bows, it's pretty much the same in my view. They were fantastic. This is a fantastic bow. Should it be number 1? I don't know. Let's compare the other bows on this list. Bow number 2 is the Bowtech Virtue. This is new. I haven't even shot it yet. It's equivalent of the Bowtech Honor. Look, it missed out by 0.8 of a point compared to the PSE. I will say that every reviewer who shot all the bows said if budget was an issue, they would buy the Mach 33 out of all these bows on the wall. Okay, I'm going to say they're all hunters who did the review. So that will have a bias to your opinions of which bow to buy. Because if I was looking for a bow for hunting, I'm probably going to say I'm going to shoot the PSE. Okay, so I'm not taking away from this bow because this is really, really interesting. And this is the first time I've seen it. It came in literally yesterday. So let's look at this. The Bowtech Virtue. Speed. This is like one of the faster bows, 341 feet per second, 32 inches axle, almost a 6-inch brace out. Now, what 6 inches will mean versus 7 inches, when you aim, you'll see more it'll be more twitchy. Your sight pin will move more. But with that, you get more speed. More speed, if you're guessing distances, just means more accuracy. Okay? So it's this whole point. You don't get one for the other. There's not fast, accurate. It's if you're hunting and you're hunting at 30 meters, this is faster than the Mach 33, but like you're going to be accurate at 30 meters. You're going to be able to hit, tennis balls at 30 meters with both of these bows. It's not going to be an issue. It's more of an issue when you go back to 50 meters. Which one are you going to shoot better with? And I'm going to say probably the Mach 33 than this, but I haven't shot this yet, right? But I'm saying that because this is a 6-inch brace height. Okay. Innovation. They gave this bow 4 marks. Okay, 5 out of 5. Let's just talk about that. You've got a magnesium riser here. This is latest tech. It's very light, 3.6. So it's almost the same weight as a carbon bow, but it's metal, so you don't have the issues with ripping out your thread bolts and carbon issues that when you drop the bow you can damage the carbon. It's metal. It's lightweight. There are other magnesium risers on the market today. I'm going to say Mathews, Truth, because I see lots of posts about Truth. But this is innovative. This is clearly an innovative riser. Flexi cable guard, so it flexes in to reduce torque with rollers. That's innovative. These modules flip from performance to smooth. Very innovative. 3 locking points on the module, that's good. So you can go from a bow which is 5 feet per second faster to one which is smoother. That's good. Limb stop here. You've got tuning on the cable, so you can wind up and down the cables through making this minor. Look, I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if I like it, but it's good. You've got limb locking. I like limb locking. So on any reviews you see me do, the PSE didn't have limb locking. This has got limb locking. I like limb locking. I like the idea that the limbs aren't winding themselves out because they wind themselves out. This bow has titanium bits. See this? Titanium. Titanium, titanium, titanium. Just more expensive bits all over it. You've got an adjustable grip. So this grip can angle here. The PSE doesn't have an adjustable grip. So is it fair that the PSE is a 1 and this is a 5? Well, I don't think the PSE is probably fairer at a 1. But this is definitely fair as far as technology. It's the most advanced bow on the market, not even a question. And the only question to me on that argument would be the Elite, and I will explain that when I get to the Elite. This cam system moves left to right. This is clearly the best tuning system on the market. We don't even need the debate, and I've seen people debate other systems. Look, if you're getting paid, I understand why you're having to think. I'm not getting paid by any of these manufacturers. They'll probably hate me for commenting on their bows. This is the best cam system. It moves left to right. It's the best. You don't need a bow press. It moves left to right. If Hoyt could buy this from Bowtech, they would. If Mathews could buy it from Bowtech, they would. If PSE could buy it from Bowtech, they would. Everyone would buy this cam system from Bowtech. They won't allow them. Athens used this cam system, and Bowtech sued them out of business. Okay, this is the best tuning system. Now, for me, I don't do much of that. I just go shoot a bow. Because I vary so much in my shooting ability, I don't even worry about the bow these days, right? Levi Morgan did a video where he untuned the bow as much as possible, and at 40 meters he can still Robin Hood his arrows, okay? And that's untuned as much as possible, cams out of time and everything, because the bow shoots the same every time. I've been saying it for years, worry about yourself more than the bow. But this is an amazing, amazing bow. Like these limbs here, I'm going to talk about these limbs. This is a pivot point. Bowtech did this years ago because they flex the limbs more evenly. When they design these limbs, you'll see it's thinner here, so it actually flexes evenly over the whole limb, so you don't get the one flex point in the middle. This is, the strings are good. This is a really, really innovative bow, right? The back wall on the Virtue, they gave a 3.3. Look, I think it's going to be the same. Because it's the same system, it's the same thing. The draw cycle is a 3.3. Yes, it's not as good a draw cycle as your PSE and Elite, okay? It's not. They gave the Elite a 4, they gave the PSE a 5, and they gave this a 3.3. The grip, they gave this 3.6. Look, I don't mind this grip. I think I like the Elite grip better. They gave no grip a 5. They gave the PSE a 4. 3.6 rated this the second best grip in the business. Post shot, this got a 3.3. They gave the Elite a 5. So when you shoot the shot, you will get more vibration with this because it's lighter. So that's fair. Accuracy wise, they gave this a 3. Probably fair because the 6-inch brace height are one of the fastest bows in the market, coming second to the PSE. Look, I can make a case that this is the best bow on the market without even shooting it because it's got all the technology you want. All the technology you want won't affect your ability to hit the target, right? But for a hunting bow, it's nice and light. It's all metal. It's got all the technology. I can see the limb bolts in the back here. I love this because when I'm winding out, I can see how much I adjust it. I love this. It's freaking, I would have this. This is amazing bow. It's expensive. This is a bow we do own. My son owns this bow. This is the Elite Exalt 35, and I've shot it in reviews. I think this is one of the best bows, and we'll talk about what I like and what I don't like about this bow. This bow rated number 3. In innovation, they gave it a 2.5. You don't understand how good this bow is. whoever did the review on this, you don't understand how good Elite is. You have no concept, you do not work in a shop, you do not understand how good this bow is. If someone walks into my shop with this bow, I sigh and go, this is awesome, I love this bow. It literally takes me seconds to set up this bow. Seconds. It's the best. And when I say the best, is it easier than Bowtech to set up? Yes, it is. It is the best, okay? The best bow to set up. It's so quick. For tuning, if you want to tune it, the tuning system on the Bowtech, you move the cams left and right, fantastic, takes seconds. This, you're pivoting the limbs, takes seconds, literally seconds. If you've got a Mathews to tune, you've got a Hoyt to tune, you're there for 2 hours, right? So it's like, and then the customer's going to get pissed because you're like, well, I've got to charge you, and they don't want to pay. No archer wants to pay for anything, right? So what is amazing about Elite, the tuning is cool, limb locking, right? You know I like limb locking. You can adjust this cable slide in or out. That's good. Innovative. Who else can you change the cable guard in and out? No one so far. There's probably going to be someone in this lane who has this. But this is innovative. This was I think this was an Elite thing, right? But the really good thing about Elite is these cams, okay? This is a binary cam system, okay? The newer Elites, which we're going to get to, which rate lower, this is a new Elite. These have big, thick axles, which is fantastic. You have the option of a smooth or a performance module. Now that's going to cost you because you're going to have to buy a different module if you want to try faster versus smoother, okay? I'm going to say it comes with smooth, which is what it should come with because this is effectively a target bow. Target 3D bow. What is great about this bow is you can change the length of the valley. Okay, so you can go from a valley that big to a valley that big. You can't do that on any other bow in this lineup. It's unique to Elite because you've got a cable stop and a limb stop. Okay, it's unique. You deserve a 5 for that reason alone. And the tunability. The tunability is the best on the Elite and the Bowtech. There's no questions about this. If someone comes into my shop with any one of these bows, an Elite and Bowtech, you're like, this is seconds to tune your bow. Seconds, right? You come in with a Mathews to change strings, it's like, you come in with a Mathews to change a peep. Right, we're going to talk about that when we get to those bows, right? Love this bow. Now, the reason why they would have given this bow a innovation of a 2.6, you don't understand this stuff. Get educated. This is the best stuff. Go and shoot one. It's the best. I'm not saying it because I have... Now, I don't get paid more. I don't get paid. No one gives me a bow, right? No one gives me a bow. I didn't get paid any more to sell any bows here. Actually, I do. I get paid more to sell a Bowtech because Bowtech requires us to have a minimum price. So I make more money when I sell a Bowtech. But I don't care about that, right? Because it's like nothing to me, right? So, but this system here, I don't use the limb stop, but the limb stop hits this. This is amazing. It's a stop. It's the best. When they used to have stops before, they used to hit the limbs. This is hitting this stop here. This is far, far better. So now you've got the thing is I can actually go from a soft, when I say a soft stop, which is a cable stop, to a hard stop, which is a limb stop, right? Now they gave the bow a 4 on features, which is like probably reasonable, but they gave the Darton a 4 on features. That's probably reasonable. So they rated this the second most featured bow. Look, to me it's arguably a 5. The back wall they gave a 4.3, being the best wall. No, you can fit limb stops to this bow. It means you did not fit limb stops to the bow. Fit limb stops, it's a 5 because it can't move because it hits the limb. It's a complete dead stop wall. Is there any other bows on this wall with limb stops? No, there's not, right? So limb stops means it hits the limbs, it can't move. when it hits a cable, you can pull past the cable, right? So when you talk about the back wall, this should be a 5. They gave it a 4.3. The straw cycle, they gave a 4. They rated bows better. The sequel, I've shot the sequel. They gave the sequel a 4.3. No, this is better than the sequel. They gave the PSE a 5. Yeah, look, probably the PSE is smoother. They gave the Decree a 4.6. Yes, it's probably smoother. The Hoyt, they gave a 2.6, and the Mathews, they gave a 2.6. Yes, completely fair. The grip, they gave a 3.3. So they rated this grip similar to all the other grips on the market. No, that's not fair. And I'll tell you why it's not fair. See this here, it's curved. It's the only bow where this curves in, just that point there. Now, for me, the grip is critical. It's the biggest thing that affects my accuracy on any bow I shoot, whether it's recurve or compound. Hitting that same pressure point every time so your hand doesn't move, because if your hand moves like this, different points, low, high, like this, if your hand's moving around, it's changing where it hits the target. The greatest thing for me of switching to an elite, my accuracy, not my scores, improved. I didn't throw as many wild shots with the grip. So now when I used to train every day with a compound, I can shoot the same scores, not training effectively at all. And I shoot the same scores now that I used to. So this grip, because it's tapered in here, my hand just slits in. It's much, much better. It's in my view, the best grip on the market. And I've got the whole argument that the Hoyt grip, the Bowtech grip, you can change the angles, and that's cool. I love that. But this just hits the right spot for me, and I just get less variation in my accuracy. It's just what it is. I just shoot better, right? Okay, so post-shot, they gave this a 5. They gave this the best. Yeah, well, it's the best because it's heavy. This bow is a boat anchor, right? So when you shoot it, you feel nothing. And that's not taken away from the bow. It's got beyond parallel limbs, so there's no shock when you shoot the bow. It's a fantastic bow to shoot. Absolutely fantastic. I gave my son one of these to shoot. He was shooting 207. My son's not a bad shooter. He was shooting 270 indoor scores, and we got nationals in a week's time. I gave him one of these to shoot. His scores jumped immediately to 280s. And he's now fluctuated his score between, I'm going to say 280, it's probably more towards 285, to 296. And he's only been shooting for about 3 weeks, right? So he's just got back into archery, he's just got back into coming into work. And he was probably a better shooter when he was 20, okay? Because he used to shoot a lot. Well, he was a better shooter. He was better than me back in when he was 20 and I was 40 odd. He used to shoot some better scores than I did, but he hasn't continued shooting, so he's lost his muscle tone, and his scores are improving now. And it's substantial. It's noticeable for me how well he shoots with this bow. And when I shoot his bow, this is the Exalt 35, I shoot it better than my target bow. Okay, and my target bow has all the stuff on it set up for me, and I shoot great with it, and I shoot his bow better. Okay, so when I look at accuracy, they gave this bow a 3. Bull crap. Bull crap, bull crap, bull crap, right? There are elite shooters shooting this who shot this in Vegas. They shot a perfect 900 and they were through to the finals against all the target bows in there. So when it came, if you're getting paid by elite to shoot a bow, you chose this bow over their target bow. Okay, that's a big thing. Because I don't see that with other brands. I don't see a Hoyt shooter going, instead of shooting the Concept, I'm going to shoot the RX9 for competition. That doesn't occur. I don't see anyone at Vegas going, I'm going to shoot their Lift X instead of the Tidal. It doesn't occur, right? It occurs with this bow. It occurs with this bow because it's got a big brace height. It's very easy to shoot. You've got less vibration. So the difference between this and their target bow is just it's a little bit shorter. and it's a little bit more parallel the limbs, so I feel a little bit less vibration, but I shoot it basically the same. I shoot a little bit better with this, I think. The Piccadilly mount with this is fantastic because you don't have to take off this to fit the sight. It's built into the back of the riser, so that's fantastic. So I think the reviewers who reviewed this undervalued it, and I'm going to say am I overstating how good this bow is? I don't think so. The Darton sequel, 33, came in fourth. It's a great bow. It's a great bow. You have limb locking, which I love. You've got the ability to tune the bow through adjusting the pressure on the limbs. Now this is an old PSE thing, so you can wind in and out the limb, one limb here, to change the lean on this cam. That's pretty good. PSE did this years ago. They should have stuck with it. It was a good innovation, which they dropped. The cables are fine. Full draw length adjustability here. This is like a Bowtech where you got the cable stop here. So basically what this is, it's like a Bowtech. You don't have a flip performance to smooth. And instead of the cams moving left to right, because you're not allowed to have that, because Bowtech won't give it to you, they've opted for the old PSE system where you crank down one limb more than the other to change the tune. So in innovation, they gave this bow 4. You gave the Elite Exalt 2.6, you gave this bow a 4. You have one bit of technology in here which was developed back when I was young, which it's good. It's good. It's just not a 4. It's just it's fine. You've got a good tuning system. It's a good bow. It's a good bow. But the Elite has so much more because you can change the valley size. You've got limb stop and cable stop. Right? All I've got with this is one limb that I can wind in to change the tilt on the cam. That's basically it. I don't have an adjustable grip. I don't have the grip which is rounded in like I do on the Elite. Look, it's not bad. Price-wise, it's $150 cheaper than the Elite. That's fair because it's not as good as the Elite, but it's pretty good. Now I've sold quite a few of these bows, and I've sold them to people who shoot the Elites. And I always ask which one you like better, and they like it pretty much the same. And yeah, it is pretty much the same. And they haven't sold their Elites, so that sort of says everything I need to see. They still shoot this bow. It's a good bow, but the Elite has more adjustability. My thing, it's got the adjustability here, but this is a good bow. It's solid, and it's full draw length adjustability. I have no issues with this bow being number 4. The weight wise, it's fairly heavy, smooth. It's going to be the same sort of speed. 330s. It's going to be a smooth draw. I think the Elite's a bit smoother, and I think the PSE is a bit smoother. Let's just check that. They go so that's exactly what they say. They say the PSE is smoother, and they say the Elite's, the draw cycle. No, they say the Elite is. They say this is smoother than the Elite. So this is a 60-pound bow, and I'm not even going to pull that back all the way because it hurts me. I shoot 51 pounds on a recurve every day. 60 pounds is not a hard draw. That's harder than I want to draw back. The grip, they rated it as a 2. 2. Why would you rate this a 2 compared to the others? It's the same. Post shots are 4. Look, yeah, it's fine. Accuracy, they rated it a 3. Look, I would shoot this well. I could shoot this with target. I would shoot the same score with this that I probably do with the Exalt, because it's got the bigger brace height. Guessing. It's got the same axle size. I would choose the Exalt because I think I like the tunability on the Exalt. While this has got the limbs that wind down, which is cool, I just like the other one a bit better. I like the colours in the Elite more. And I like the cam system on the Elite more because you've got the cable stop and the limb stop, and I like the adjusting the valley big and small. I like that. Okay, fifth bow was a PSE Decree. This is interesting to me. So Decree sells in America for $1,400. The Mach 33 sells for $1,900, so $500 less. Look, this is basically a Mach 33 with a magnesium riser as opposed to a carbon riser, so it weighs a bit more. It feels pretty much the same to shoot. I shoot this bow well. So to me, this is effectively the carbon bow, but in a metal riser. You don't have limb locking, full draw length adjustability. The tuning is not as good as an Elite or the Bowtech, because you need a bow press, but it's pretty good. It's completely justified. Yes, the sequel. Would I choose this bow or the sequel, given they are 0.6 difference in score? Look, they sell for about the same price in my shop. I'm probably going to choose this over a sequel just because the quiver that fits onto it is better. I'm going to say the draw cycle, I'm going to say is the draw cycle they gave a 4.6, so you've got the same cams as this on this bow as the Mach 30, so it feels exactly the same to draw back. So the concept of going the Mach 30s have got a better draw cycle than this, it's the same cams, man. It's the same cams. You could not tell the difference because they're identical. It's a good draw cycle, but if you're going to rate if you're going to rate the Mach 33 a 5 in a draw cycle, then you have to rate this a 5, and that's fair, but you rate it 4.6. The grip, a 3. You rated this the second lowest grip. No, I think I preferred this grip than the Mach 33. Okay, I'm going to tell you why. It's rounded here. I feel like it is. It's rounded into here. So this is not parallel. This rounds in. So it rounds in. So when you put your finger through here, this finger, it's fitting in the slot. Now when you put your thumb up here, see my thumb, this is where your thumb should be. You can see it's not getting jarred. Some bows, this is flat here and it hurts if you put your hand in the right position. This is how your hand should be. Alright? I would prefer this grip to the Mach 33. It's probably my second favourite grip. It's not adjustable, which the Bowtech and the Hoyt is. Not the Hoyt I've got here, but the Hoyt target bow is. But it's very comfortable. The rubber is nice because your hand's not sliding like it does on a carbon finish. So I would rate this grip better. Accuracy wise, they gave this a 5. So they rated this the same accuracy as Mach 33, and that's completely fair because it's effectively the same bow just with a metal riser. Okay, the bow which rates number 2, 4, 5, 6 is the prime form. I haven't got one. I can't tell you about it. But I will go through the form. They gave the form a 5 in innovation. Oh, just no. So I'm not having a go at. I feel like I'm having a go at prime. So you take a metal riser, you cut it, and you stick some carbon rods in, and you go, you're like, mate, that is smart. No, it's not. It's not smart. It's not. Longevity, this has been done before. It's like, no, it doesn't last. When I say it doesn't last, that bow won't age well. So when it comes to being an innovative bow in 10 years' time, it's not going to be sought after. Okay? It's not going to be sought after. That's an innovation. No. Now, when Prime had the twin cams, that was innovative. It had some issues, but it was very innovative. But no, cutting a riser and putting 2 carbon rods in, not innovative, just, like it looks okay, but no. If it was cool, then everyone would be shooting it, okay? There'd be people shooting it at target shoots. There is no one shooting them at target shoots, which just... And I like Prime. Prime make nice bows. They make good stuff. Backwheel 3.6, I don't know. Draw cycle 4, probably. Look, the Prime's always had really good draw cycles. Really good. Love the draw cycle. The grips, I really like the grips on their Primes. I think they had a grip which came in as well. I don't know if they still do. Post shot, they gave it a 3, which is the lowest. Accuracy. So you gave reviewers, you gave the Prime the lowest rating on accuracy of a, sorry, the second lowest rating on accuracy at 2. The second worst accurate bow. The worst accuracy being a Hoyt, which all the Hoyt fanboys are going to hate. But we're going to talk about that. But you rated it second. It's the second because you put carbon rods in a riser. No. It's not innovative. Stupid. Stupid is the word you're looking for. Come up with a stupid idea, you got stupid results, and you come out with poor accuracy. Completely understandable. This is the Mathews lift. Now, when I see reports where they go through bows and they say, what's the best and all this, I see lots of Mathews fanboys are like, this is the best bow ever made. I'm like, maybe I'm just out of touch. Maybe I don't know what's going on. All right? I don't know. Right, so Mathews lift seems to be fairly cheap in America, which is interesting. Right, so let's just talk about this. So the Mathews lift, innovation, they gave it a 3. So they rated it higher. You rated this bow higher in innovation than the Elite. Let's discuss this. Right. So you're telling me this bow's got more innovation than this bow. Let's just look. Limb locking. Nope. Limb locking? Yes. Does this bow have a rotating module that you can change from performance to smooth? Yes, it does. No, this bow is modules. And why is this bow module based? Well, yeah, Mathews fanboys will say because it's more efficient with modules. No, because they don't want to pay the patent. They don't want to pay PSE for the rotating module that every other bow in the industry uses. They don't want to pay it because they are sick of being in court with PSE. They don't have the ability to change your let off. See, it's fixed. This, you can change your valley to whatever you want. In and out. You've got a limb stop. So you can have zero let off if you want with this bow, right? So if you want to shoot with fingers, you can shoot this bow with fingers with a 50 pounds with fingers on the fingers to let go of the bow. Amazing. It's an amazing thing. You can have like 30% let off, you can have 20% let off. You can do whatever you want with this bow. This bow you can't do anything with, right? Because it's a module based system. Right, okay, cable guard. Can you move the cable guard? No, you can't on the Mathews. You can with the Elite. Right, so now we're down to tuning systems. Now, the Elite, in my opinion, has probably got the second best tuning system in the market. And to Mathews' credit, they came up and said their top hat system's rubbish, and it was. And they came up with this system, which I see on some of the forums, right? And I understand, Mathews, that you don't want to pay for the Bowtech patent because they won't sell it to you. And it's the best, right? So, like where Elite come out with the rotating the things and PSE come out with the thing that moves left to right and Darton come up with the PSE thing where the limbs move independently, which PSE already did years ago, so I assume they're paying the patent for that. And if they're not, well, PSE, you should be suing them because it was developed ages ago. What Mathews did was said, what we're going to do, we're going to move this limb. So we're going to push this limb in or out. And I'm like, what? You don't... Okay, so let's just discuss this just a little bit. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 limbs. Rubber in the middle. How does rubber work with time? Let's just discuss that. So Mathews used to have harmonic dampeners in their risers here. They're left with one here. I can tell you how this, and I sound like I'm trashing on Mathews. I'm not. I'm just telling you how rubber lasts. It doesn't. It perishes. And so what I'm going to say is the rubber in here is probably going to perish. Then you've got a problem, right? I don't understand why you do this. It's a nothing thing. You didn't gain anything from putting 4 limbs in the top versus 2. There was nothing to be gained. When the original bow company used to be solid limbs, and they used to crack because the cam was trying to lean, so then they said, well, instead of doing that, we'll just cut the limb, and then we can use different poundage limbs left to right to balance the limbs, right? So that's how the split limbs came out. Then Mathews was like, well, we'll just do 4 limbs. You didn't gain anything from 4 limbs. There was nothing. And now what you've done is you've like, where this is normally locked in place, you've like gone, we're going to move. You're going to what? You're going to move your limb left to right to, like, it's better than your top hat system. It is, but it's not great. It's not great. The little monkey tails here, they perish. The strings. Look here at the strings. Let's try and zoom up nice to the strings. See how smooth those strings are? Now they say Mathews have improved their strings. See here? Let's just look here. They're rubbish. Won't affect your shooting. It's just they're not as good as other bows. And when you're paying lots of money, you want good bows. So features, he gave them a 3.5. I don't know. What features have we got here? Now, to the people who did a review on this, you don't work in a pro shop, because if you worked in a pro shop and this comes in, you go to the toilet. It's what you do. If you work in a pro shop and a guy comes in with this, you walk off to the toilet because you don't want to deal with it. Okay? Because it's too hard, it's going to consume too much time, and if you're getting paid on sales, you're going to get paid on how much you sell. Stuffing around with this is too much work. To change the strings on this bow, you've got to drop the cams. That's to fit strings on this bow, 5 minutes. This bow, an hour. And then I've got the problems of the peak sight rotating. I had a guy come in my shop the other day with one of these. He obviously brought it in another shop. I had 2 guys come in with one of these. With these bows, they're so far past parallel. See the limbs? They're so far past parallel, you need a special bow press to work on them. I have beyond parallel bow presses, but these are even beyond parallel, so you need special adapters, which means unless you're a Mathews shop, you can't work on this bow. So the guy who's in my state who brought one of these and he wants to fit a peep sight, because the shop didn't fit it, because he's got to work out where the peep needs to be, he'll have to post that bow back to Melbourne, where he brought the bow from. They will have to fit the peep. It won't be in the right spot. It'll have to come back to Adelaide. $100 at least in postage. Plus the guy in Melbourne's time to fit it. He's going to charge a bit because he charges a fair bit to do anything. Then it's going to be in the wrong spot. So he's going to move it up. So he's going to move it up and move it down a little bit, right? It's going to be in the wrong position. He's going to send that bow back down to Melbourne. Now, when you need a new string for the bow, same problem. You brought a bow you can't work on and no one else can work on. And you've just said this bow is innovative. Like, you do not work on these bows. Look. Now, if you're in America and you're MFJJ, you're making buck on these bows. You're like, yes, I've got my fast, big Chevy outside. I'm making all the buck, and it's better than Bitcoin. Because these have got a minimum recommended retail price. They give them to me first, and I can ship them out all over the US, and I'm making $500-600 a bow. Right? That's the way it is, and you're like, this is the best bow in the business. I understand that. Right, now, innovation. This here on top of the limbs, this is so when you dry fire the bow, it doesn't rip the cams out of the axles. Now, other bows like this, they beef up the limb tips. So, look, other bow companies have got this, and they've had it for years. I don't know. I don't know. Like, you can change the poundage on this bow with the modules. Is that a thing? I don't know. Buy it if you want. Back wall, you gave it a 3. Okay. It should be the same as all the other bows. Why is it not the same as all the other bows? Except for the Elite, because the Elite has got limb stops. If you fit the limb stops, it's hitting the limb. So the Elite has got the best draw cycle. You gave this bow a 2.6, the second worst draw cycle in the market, next to the Hoyt. The grip, you gave a 3.3. Unfair, because everyone rips their grips off the Mathews, and even have this debate, I do not know a Mathews shooter who doesn't rip the grip off. So that means every Mathews shooter hates the grip, and yet you're like saying this is okay. Post shot 3.3, I think it should be better because these limbs are beyond parallel. There should be no shock. I haven't shot it yet because it's just new in. Accuracy, you gave this bow a 4. A 4? Okay. Now, when they did the reviews, they said they shot at a distance, and they didn't say what score they shot, and they said they measured the groups. Now, if you're familiar with the bow and you're used to it, you'll probably shoot better. There is no one shooting this bow for target competition. Doesn't happen. Never will. Not ever going to happen. Because you would shoot the title because it's more forgiving to shoot. Okay? It's just, the draw cycle's too aggressive. You're just not going to shoot it. The whole thing of, it's not going to happen, right? You've said this is the third most accurate bow on the list of the bows behind me. No, it's not. It's not. I'm more than happy to go and shoot scores with them all. And I'm going to say the difference is not much. But when I have a Mathews fanboy say he wouldn't shoot a lift, he would shoot the title for hunting, it tells me how well he shoots with a lift. Where I'm telling you I would shoot this for target any day of the week, and I think I would shoot... Okay, so me shooting this bow and me shooting this bow, which one do you think I'm going to shoot the best scores with? No question. No question. And I'm happy to shoot scores. And you know, I went to Vegas one year, and there was a guy shooting this little Mathews hunting bow. He's shooting great with it. So I'm not saying you can't shoot great. I'm just saying he shot a 294 out of 300, amazing score. He would have shot better with a bow with a bigger brace height, with a smoother draw cycle. He would have shot a higher score. I put my house on it. Right, Mathews lift. If I sound like I'm hating on Mathews, look, I'm not hating on Mathews. I'm just saying they don't. The module system was around 20 years ago, and they haven't changed since then. It's like you've got a 20-year-old bow. Right, now this is interesting. This is the Elite Artus. It's rated under the lift. Right, so let's just compare this to this. The Elite versus the Elite. On this Elite, they've added yokes. This is effectively the hunting bow, this short hunting bow. So if I was shooting target, I'm not shooting this bow. But I may shoot it for hunting, because at 30 meters I can hit apples with this all day long, right? But I'm not going to shoot 50 meters and expect to hit apples with this, right? Okay, so innovation, they give it a 2.5. You give this one a 2.6. So what you've done is you've downgraded, because the technology is the same on both bows, except for this one, they've gone to a yoke system and they've got rid of the limb stops. And when they did this, I was like, well, the limb stops are great because you can change the length of the valley. You can still change the length of the valley on this quite a lot, more than any of the other bows, right? But you don't have the ability to go to 0 let off or 10% let off. You can't do that with this bow. But you could do it with the old system, right? Because they've gone for yokes. So while this is good, because some people didn't like the fact that one of these cables ran too close to the cam. It's like, I'm not sure this is a better system than the old Elite system. I understand why you've got it. But let's talk about it. You got cam, you can move this backwards and forwards, you've got limb locking, you've got a full draw length adjustability, you've got full let off adjustability. So to say this bow has got less innovation than a Mathews just means that someone is getting paid by Mathews to promote Mathews, because you've got full tunability here without a bow press, you've got full draw length adjustability without a bow press. To change the strings on this, 5 minutes, easy. Not as easy as this one. This is easier, right? The old system, because this here you've got yokes, so you've got it's a little bit harder, but 10 minutes. This is a good system, right? Features are 4. Look, so yeah, back wall 3.6. So you have said this hasn't got quite as good back wall as the Exalt 35, but I'm going to say with the Exalt 35 you didn't fit limb stops, because then you've got to give the Exalt 35. And I would say the back wall on this 3.6, like, why is it worse than the sequel of a 4, the Mach 30 of a 4.3? It's the same system. It's a draw cycle. You gave this a 3. Yeah, like, it's faster. It's faster, it's got performance mods on it for faster speed. So what you've done is the draw cycles, one that's slow you've given a highest rating, and one that's fast you've given a low rating. I understand that, you've given it a 3, fair enough. Grip you've given it a 3.3, which is the same as the other Elite. It's the same grip, so that's reasonable. I still think this grip is better than some of the others. Accuracy, you gave it a 2 versus a 3 for the Exalt 35. Exalt 35 is better than a 3 for accuracy. It's not even a joke. 2. Right, so you've said to me, as a reviewer, that this bow is a 4 on accuracy and this is a 2. So what you're saying is this bow shoots twice as accurate as this, the groups. And I'm calling bullshit. Absolute bullshit. 4 versus 2, no. Would I expect to shoot a similar score with this and this? Yeah, I would. I would expect to shoot a similar score. I'd expect it to be a similar score, but I'm going to choose this bow because to change the strings is minutes. To work on the bow, to change the draw length is minutes. To tune the bow is minutes. It's a good tuning system. I can change the valley. So I'm choosing this. $1,300. This is $50 more than the Elite. Right, the Hoyt. This is not the RX-9. It's the RX-7. It's the latest Hoyt I have in my shop. But they're pretty much the same. This got canned. Came in last. Hoyt would hate that. Is that fair? I think this is a pretty decent bow. Let's just start with that. I think it's a good looking bow, and there's no points here for prettiness. Innovation 3. So in innovation you give this a 3, but you give this. Look, when you're reviewing stuff, and I'm not on this group of guys who reviewed this, you give this on innovation a 3, you give this 2.5. Both have rotating modules. So you go, well, that's the same, right? No, because this one I've got to buy different modules for different draw lengths. That's a pain. Which one's more innovative? I can change the let off on this, the valley, to whatever. The cable slide moves left to right. On this it's fixed. This has a tuning system. That's innovative, right? So I can move the limbs left to right. So if I'm getting left tears, if I'm shooting broadheads, the Elite, I can fix it in seconds. This, you're talking hours of work. Hours to fix the tuning on this bow. Hours, because you've got little shims that cost a fortune. You can fit other shims which don't cost as much, but you've got to shim this bow left and right. You need a bow press. You need to take the bow apart. Look, to change the strings on this is easier. It's the same as the Elite. It's minutes, right? So it's not like a Mathews to change the strings. This is minutes. But how can you give this an innovation of a 3? How? Because it's a carbon riser? Okay, maybe. In which case then you need to compare the Hoyt, the Elite carbon riser, because that's better than this. It's got far more innovation than this. Got far more features than this. The back wall, they give it a 3.3, and that's fair because they're all the same. The draw cycle, they give it a 2.6. I thought the draw cycle was pretty good. I think that's a bit unfair. The grip, 3.3. Now this is interesting to me because the grip, I'm always a bit, I like this grip. I do. I like the Hoyt target grip. It's a good grip. Because the Hoyt target grip, you can change the angles it bolts on. But this bow does not have the same grip as the Hoyt target bow. So it's a different grip. So I'm like, but it's comfortable. See here it moves in like the Elite. That's good. So how can you give this grip the same as every other grip? It's a better grip. Post shot 3.6. Now, accuracy. You rated this the least accurate bow there. A 1. A 1? John Dudley. John, did you not say this is the most accurate bow ever? I don't know. A 1? Oh, how bad did they shoot this? And does it surprise me? Right, let's talk about that. First off, it doesn't surprise me, okay? It doesn't surprise me. And it doesn't surprise me for one simple reason, the grip, okay? I'm going to mention it before, I mentioned it again. All these bows will shoot the same. If you shoot them out of a shooting machine, they will shoot the same. They will shoot the same arrow every single time. At 50 meters, they'll be like a bullet, okay? They'll hit the same arrow every time. So the variance comes in the archer. It's in your ability to have the same grip, the same pressure point, to draw back the same, to hold your arm in the same position, to maintain the pressure in your back, to make that shot, to make it go off, right? That's the variability. The variability is in you. Now, with this bow, to be regarded as the least accurate bow made, Hoyt would hate that. Okay, so let's just talk about this. You've got no limb locking, which I like. You've got no tuning. So the least of all these bows here, the oldest, least technologically advanced. You have a rotating module. So it's one up on a Mathews, right? It's one up on a Mathews, but not, it doesn't, all the other bows have a tuning system. This doesn't, okay? That's not going to affect the accuracy because this bow lost badly on accuracy, giving a 1. Because if it got a 4, it'd then be up in the middle of the pack, which is probably where it would be. Now, you've got a Piccadilly mount here and a Piccadilly mount here. That's all fine. This is a carbon riser, and they normally metal up here, and it's a fine riser. Now, it doesn't surprise me at all. I've got people who've had these bows, and they've sold them, and they've brought the Mach 33, and they shoot substantially better with the Mach 33 than the Hoyt. And I'm not saying this because I sell Hoyts and I sell PSEs and I don't shoot Hoyts. These are actual people in customers who are Hoyt fanboys. They are John Dudley, signed up. Love that stuff. I love a green bow, right? These are those guys who they have trouble tuning the bows. They have trouble getting the grouping. They buy the PSE and they just go, this is amazing. I should have shot one all the time. I have never had someone go, I'm having trouble shooting the PSE and I shoot amazing with a Hoyt. Or I'm having trouble shooting the PSE and I shoot the lift great. It's never happened. Never. Not one. No one. If that's you, put it down there, because not one customer has ever done that, right? And I don't care what bow you buy. I don't push anything. I'm like, buy what bow you want. Do your own research. The problem with this bow is the grip. I like the grip. But the problem is getting it the same every time. It's a rubberized grip, right? It's rubber. Once I put my hand there, it doesn't move. It's stuck. If I put my hand there, it's going to shoot different than if I put it there. If I put it there, it's different than putting it there. If I put it there, it's different than there. That's different than that. And the problem is, because it's rubberized, my hand, as soon as it touches, it sets in the position. So as far as accuracy, it's almost impossible for me to get the same grip every time with this grip. Even though I love it. I love the grip, right? It's hard because it's rubberized and it's a very comfortable grip. Like you feel the bow and you're like, that grip is really nice. But the problem is your hand doesn't go in the same spot, all right? With the Elite, I'm going to go back to the Elite. With the Elite, because it's curved here, your hand just slides into that same spot. See, like it slides up. See, my hand just automatically goes. My thumb goes to that spot. So every time it goes to the same spot. So therefore I've got consistency in the grip every time. With this, because it's rubberized, which you're going to like because it's nice and warm and today's freezing, my hand doesn't slide up. It doesn't slide. See, it doesn't slide. So it's going to be hard for me to get the same grip. See, my finger's not rubbing up against here. It's hard to get it the same every time. And I've shot some great scores with some Hoyts, scores that amazed me. Hunting Hoyts. I did a review with one and I shot amazing with it. I was like, this is amazing. And both sold next day. I was like, phew. So what I'm going to say is I understand why you gave this bow a score of 1, and what it was your grip. You didn't get the same grip every time. And it's not to do with the bow, it's got to do with you. And I don't have the answer, because I'm going to say the hunters are not going to want the Hoyt Concept X grip on their hunting bow, because they will find this more comfortable. You're just going to have to work at getting this hand in the right position. You're going to have to work on this. That's the problem with this bow, in my view. It might also be the limbs are ahead of the grip here. The closer the grip is to the limbs, the more stable the bow will be. But that's my finding of it. It wasn't a surprise to me they shot a 1 with it. And I think it's probably fair, but a bit unfair for Hoyt. But it's totally my experience with customers. So that's all the top bows. Is there any they missed? Yes. Bowtech make a whole range of really good bows. They're not there. Like PSE have got 2 there, Elite have got 2. You could argue why the Elite carbon bow is not in this range. Because it's carbon, it's a very innovative carbon riser. It's carbon all the way through. So it means if you drop the riser, it's not going to crack. It's the strongest of all the risers. It's not here. But I think it's very fair. I think that's my summary of it. I'll leave you with that. It's very hard to know about a bow, and customers ring me all the time like, I don't know which bow to buy. Go shoot. Go shoot. Go shoot arrows. Buying a bow does not mean it's going to be the last bow you buy. It's like, but learn to shoot, spend the time on yourself, and when you decide I like that bow, that's when you're set, okay? Because for me, I'm like, well, I shoot a Verdict. I shoot the Elite Verdict for target. I would buy this bow at a heartbeat, but I don't shoot enough. And I don't think my scores will be any different. I just don't. So I haven't spent the money on getting that orange bow and kitting out with orange stuff. I haven't spent the money. I haven't done it. But I would, but I haven't. And I sometimes think about getting the Bowtech Reckoning, which I think should also be in this group, because I think it's got some cool features. But yeah. Anyway, I think it's very fair. And for me, what it is overall is when I do these reviews, I just talk about what's good and what's bad. And then people will hate on that because people are fanboys or they're getting paid. I think this was quite fair, and I can understand why these scores come through the way they come through, but you need to have more knowledge of the product and dealing with it and wanting to deal with that product. So anyway, I'll leave it with that. All the bows for 2025, and I'm going to say the biggest impact is yourself. If you're a 14-year-old kid who lives in Kadena, who shoots a recurve, you can probably beat 95% of the compound shooters in this state. And you're shooting 30 pounds with a recurve with fingers. And you're going to beat 95%, 97% of compound archers in this state you're going to beat with a recurve, and you're 14 years old. Think about that while everyone goes, oh, which bow should I buy? Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.